All right. Um, it is another beautiful day, and I hope that you are having a good day today. Logan started last week talking about, he mentioned sevens, and he kind of went over that. And I think he chose to do that first because that's his type. And on the Enneagram, we did a full episode on the Enneagram. He's done that one. He kind of re explained some stuff about it. Um, I'm not really going to go into all of that just because he has and we have on that episode. So, our views on the Enneagram, you can go back to watch those videos. But today I want to talk about uh, the Enneagram type 9, which is the peacemaker or the peacekeeper or the conflict avoider. Um, so that's where I am. I feel like I'm a very strong Enneagram 9. Um, they like to keep the peace, of course. There's the positive side of a type 9 is someone that um, is kind of like the glue in any teamwork. They keep everybody together and help everybody to be happy, and they when they feel comfortable, they shine and they're energetic, and um, you know they're charismatic, and they're all about the team, and so they're very group oriented. In fact, they would defer decisions onto a group of people or to some other authority. So they're not the best decision makers. But if you want somebody that's going to go along with whatever you say, nines will do that most of the time. Uh, that doesn't mean that they're always going to concede. They can be stubborn about some things that are, important to them, and if particularly they want to keep the peace between themselves and God, they are not going to move. They're not going to budge in a different direction to concede to others. Um, in an unhealthy state, they become, and I guess this is the big temptation for nines, is they become apathetic. Uh, they become slothful, uh, and sometimes that comes out as laziness. Sometimes it just comes out as you know not being able to make a decision about things. Um, they are the people. I think women are like this sometimes. And I'll say that generally about women, but like the guy who says, "I don't know where," you I will not make a decision about where to eat. uh, and something between me and my girlfriend, I like Asian food, but we never go have Asian because I never, and she's gonna watch this. But we, because I would much rather go somewhere else and her be happy. That's kind of a nine thing. But yeah, they can, um, when they are in an unhealthy state, they take on the bad characteristics of a six. They become worrisome uh, and insecure. But I wanted to talk about two individuals. I put one on the title because I'm very excited to talk about this one. Um, but there's two people in the Bible actually that represent nines very well. The unhealthy nine looks like Jonah. And I think we mentioned this before, and maybe that episode on the whole, the Enneagram. Um, but Jonah was, instead of defying God and speaking against God and, lashing out and talking to God after he was told to go to Nineveh, he doesn't say anything, and he just kind of passive aggressively just leaves and goes in the other direction. He doesn't address God. He tries to hide away because he wants a peace in his life, and that's core to nines, is they want a peace in their life. They don't want conflict in their life. And so he didn't want to go to a place where he knew that there were evil and wicked people that were against God. And So he didn't want to have the potential conflict there. Of course, God puts this conflict into his life by bringing this sea, this storm. He's thrown into the sea. He's put in the uh, the belly of a big fish. Uh, this is not where Jonah wanted to be. If you know the story, he gets vomited back up. He goes to Nineveh. He finally concedes and says, "Okay, I'm going to go." And then when he doesn't get the answer that he's expecting from Nineveh, that they were just going to reject, and that God was going to do as he said he was going to do, and destroy them, they all repent, and it makes him angry because uh, this is another conflict. And then he goes out and he just sits, and he just sits and waits, and that's kind of what nines can do when they're on their world is rocked. When their world is rocked, they become still and they become complacent and apathetic. Some people, when their world is rocked, they try harder and it drives them, and their stress motivates them. That's not the case with nines. But there is another individual in the Bible, and I just looked up Enneagram 9 on Google, and this was the first result that I saw, and I'm actually pleasantly surprised with this one. Is Abraham. Now, we remember Abram receiving that promise to God from God to leave, his land and go to a distant country, and there he was going to have a nation of people come from him. And from this article, it's interesting what he says there about the nine and other Enneagram types hearing the promise. Uh, how they would handle a promise like this. Uh, it says a 3 would let it go directly to his head, and his ego inflated to the size of a hot air balloon. A 4 would probably try to hide from the responsibility, saying, "You've got the wrong guy." A 7 would be almost too eager for the task. A 1 would likely get caught up in all the details of exactly how and when God's plan would come. But Abraham, the 9, he just went. He trusted and he just went. Uh, God told him to do something rather than put up a fuss about it. To keep the peace between him and God, he just, okay. And, he conceded. And that's kind of a theme with nines. Now, there were a few other things that kind of reveal this character in Abraham. In Genesis chapter 12, he goes to Egypt, and Abram lies to Pharaoh about his wife and calls her his sister, and that is to avoid conflict. That is to avoid any problems. But ultimately, we see that does cause some conflict, does cause some issues with Pharaoh when he's punished for Abraham's lie. When Lot and Abram were, building their flocks, and they realized that there wasn't enough land for them to share, they were going to have to split. Abram let Lot have the first pick, and Lot chose the better portion. And Abram was fine with that. He was the younger one, he was the nephew. And Abram could have put a fuss about that, but he just, he conceded and he let Lot pick first. And he got the better portion, and Abram just kind of went along. When Sarah urged him to take Hagar, and to have a child with her, it doesn't say anything about Abram, putting up a fuss about that. He does so. He concedes to what she wishes, what she's, asking for, or rather than, have an argument with his wife about this. He listens, and he just does as she directs. And then Abraham sort of bargaining with God about destroying Sodom and Gomorrah. He doesn't want them to be destroyed. He's the peacemaker, and so he, comes between God and Sodom, and he's sort of this mediator between the two. Well, let me go and let me find this many righteous people, and then please relent. And so he knows that Lot is there, and there's others who are there, and so he sort of takes on that peacekeeper role there as well. So there's a lot of different ways that we can see characteristics of a 9 there. Now, there's a lot that goes into a 9, and there's so much written about a 9. But I think I'm just going to go ahead and leave it there. Generally, they're the peacekeepers. They are sometimes complacent with self. They I guess they concede a lot to other people and their decisions, and this doesn't frustrate them. A lot of people feel like if they have to like give up their opinion all the time, to make others happy, a lot of people are not happy about that. But 9s are perfectly content with that. When they make other people happy, that makes them happy. Now, that's not true all the time. Everybody has, their desires and wishes, and 9s particularly, they need to have time where they can, cool off. They are in the anger triad, which is interesting, and they're right in the middle of the anger triad, and that means that one of the motivators behind the way that they think is their anger or their gut. The other two are thinking, which Logan is in 7s, and that's 5, 6, and 7. And then there's the heart or the feeling triad, which is 2s, 3s, and 4s. So 8s, 9s, and 1s, they're in the anger triad. And 9s are asleep to their anger. They shove it down. They pretend that it's not there, and it is there. But they do that, and as they do that, they're trying to create peace in their life. So the one thing to remember about 9s, if you are a 9 or you know somebody who is a 9, they're all about peace. They want to be content where they are and what they have, and they don't want the world to rock them. They want the world to kind of leave them alone. But as they interact and engage in the world, they want to be a peaceful presence to others, and they want to make sure that everybody else is happy and going along well in life. And so anyway, that's the Enneagram 9. I'm going to do another one probably tomorrow on a different type. And Logan and I are going to get through these probably pretty quickly, I hope. And we'll talk about some more next time. So have a wonderful day. God bless you today and throughout the rest of this week. We got a great episode coming out tomorrow, Grace Upon Corinth. So I'm very excited for that. But have a good one.